What if I told you that your greatest potential is hidden exactly in the part of yourself you hate the most? No exaggeration. The things you avoid, the side of you that you bury, the anger, the fear, the shame, all of it might be exactly what you need to finally understand who you really are. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the hidden side of your personality. And what most people never tell you is that this side isn't your enemy, it's your map. Today, you'll discover why facing your shadow might be the most powerful step you'll ever take toward freedom, purpose, and your truth. If that stirred something inside you, subscribe to the channel now, because what comes next might just transform you from the inside out. Have you ever heard of the shadow, according to Carl Jung? This isn't some mystical or esoteric idea. It's deep psychology, real, transformative. The shadow is everything you've rejected in yourself, everything you've learned to hide, to deny, because someone told you it was wrong, ugly, or unacceptable. But here's the truth. The more you suppress it, the further you drift from who you really are. Feel that? Like you're constantly holding something back, pretending, adjusting, trying to fit into a version of yourself that's more acceptable? Exactly. The shadow isn't just a theory. It drives your impulses, your conflicts, your strongest emotional reactions, and most of all, the parts of your life that feel stuck. But what if, instead of running, you decided to face it? What if, instead of rejecting your anger, your jealousy, your pride, you listened? In this video, we're going deep into that process. You'll learn how to identify your shadow, how it shapes your life, and how to turn it from an enemy into an ally. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. What part of yourself do you avoid the most? That might be exactly where your greatest power is hiding. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Because here, we go deep. Always. Have you ever wondered why the same patterns keep repeating in your life? Why you keep attracting the same types of relationships or reacting the same way to similar situations, even when you swear you'll do things differently? The answer might lie in something you've never been taught to see: your shadow. Carl Jung defined the shadow as the unconscious part of our personality that the ego rejects. Everything we consider unacceptable or shameful. And here's the catch. You don't choose what goes into your shadow. It's built from everything you were forced to suppress to emotionally survive. Think about it. Maybe as a child, you were taught that anger was bad, that showing sadness was weakness, that wanting attention made you selfish, that being spontaneous was inappropriate. So you learned to hold back, to hide, to shut down. But here's the thing. Those parts of you didn't just vanish. They went into the basement of your mind, where they've been growing in the dark. That's how the shadow is born. It shows up in your overreactions, in thoughts you don't want to have, in impulses you deny are even yours. Ever had a thought and immediately went, "Where did that come from? That's not me." That's your shadow speaking. And the more you push it down, the more control it gains, because everything you deny eventually overflows. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Think of someone you can't stand, someone who triggers you in a way that feels too intense. Chances are, they're reflecting something you've repressed in yourself. Maybe it's the confidence you never allowed yourself to express. Maybe it's the freedom you told yourself you didn't deserve. Maybe it's the rage you buried for years. Here's the breakthrough. What you see as a flaw in others often reveals a trait in yourself that your shadow wants you to acknowledge. It's like the world becomes a stage where your unconscious plays out the roles you refuse to accept. And the most powerful question you can ask in those moments is, what is this reaction trying to teach me about me? Let's go deeper. The shadow doesn't just mess with your emotions. It actively shapes your choices, even the big ones. Ever had an amazing opportunity and ruined it? Stayed in toxic relationships even when you knew better? Felt like something inside was blocking you from evolving? That's not lack of willpower. That's your shadow pulling the strings. It acts like a hidden safety mechanism. Every time you get closer to your authentic self, the shadow panics because it was built to protect you from the pain of rejection. Even if it costs you your happiness, that creates fragmentation. Part of you wants to grow. Another part sabotages. One part wants to love. Another hides. One part craves freedom. Another repeats the same cycle. And until you integrate your shadow, you live in that split, stuck between who you are and who you're afraid to become. So how do you deal with this? It starts with awareness. You need to get used to observing your emotional reactions more deeply. Every time you feel something intense, anger, envy, fear, shame, stop and ask, why did this hit me so hard? Where is this coming from? What is this feeling trying to reveal? It's not about judging yourself. It's about understanding yourself. Because the shadow only loses power when it's seen. Jung often encouraged people to dialogue with the shadow. Yes, talk to it. Not like it's a monster, but like it's a neglected part of you that just wants to be heard. Write a letter to your anger, to your fear, to your shame. Ask, why are you here? What are you trying to protect? What do you need from me? You might be surprised at what comes up. Because the shadow doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to free you from the lie that you have to be perfect to be loved. As you begin to integrate your shadow, something shifts. You stop reacting automatically. You create inner space to choose how you respond, who you connect with, what you build. You start to see that the very things you feared were actually sources of power. Fear becomes courage, shame becomes authenticity, anger becomes direction, and the emptiness becomes purpose. In the next section, we'll go even deeper. How is your shadow connected to your purpose? How does it hide your most powerful gifts? And how do you turn pain into strength? Stay with me, because what's coming next changes everything. What if I told you that everything you suppress is exactly where your purpose lives? Sounds strange, right? But think about it. Why is it that our most powerful gifts often come wrapped in shame, fear, or a deep sense of not being enough? Because those gifts were the very things we were taught to hide. Maybe you've always had a deep need to express yourself, but were criticized for it early on. Maybe you feel a burning rage at injustice, but were told that anger makes you dangerous. Maybe you crave freedom above all else, but learned that being normal meant staying small. So you adapted, you silenced, you disconnected from your nature. But the truth is, everything you suppress reveals who you really are. Jung believed that individuation, the process of integrating all parts of yourself, is the key to finding your purpose. Because purpose isn't about your dream job or a shiny bio on LinkedIn. It's a state of alignment with your true self. And there's no true self without the shadow. You'll only discover your path when you stop fighting what you feel and start listening. Yes, listening to the pain, the urges, the truths you've tried to silence. That's where your mission is hiding. One of Jung's most powerful insights is this: the shadow carries your unrealized potential. Let's explore some real examples. Someone who's always been the nice one might be hiding a fierce leadership ability, buried under the fear of disappointing others. Someone ashamed of their sensuality may be suppressing a creative energy that could fuel their art, their love life, their power. A person who's shy and withdrawn might carry within them a natural speaker, stifled by past trauma. See it? The shadow isn't just darkness. It's the unlived life, the version of you that never got permission to exist. And when you touch that part, you start to feel alive again. Let's talk about pain. That deep sense of not belonging, of being too much or not enough. That too is shadow. Here's the breakthrough. Your pain doesn't mean you're broken. It's evidence of a distorted gift. Let's flip the script. Your extreme sensitivity might be your gift of empathy. Your constant anger might be your compass for injustice. Your fear of being judged could point to a buried need for authentic self-expression. Jung said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." That wound, that's where you'll find what no one else on earth can offer but you. What if your creativity is deeply tied to your shadow? Look at the most authentic artists, the most inspiring leaders, the most revolutionary thinkers. Every one of them faced their shadows. Frida Kahlo turned her physical and emotional pain into paintings that transcend generations. Martin Luther King transformed righteous anger into a movement that reshaped history. These people weren't free from shadow. They knew it well, and that's why they were powerful. True creativity doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the wound, the chaos, the soul that dares to feel. Now here's a vulnerable one. Your relationships. They're the main stage where your shadow likes to perform. Do you keep attracting the same kind of partner? Face the same conflicts? Feel rejected, pressured, unseen? That's your shadow speaking. We repeat to others what we haven't healed in ourselves. But instead of blaming, what if you got curious? What is this relationship trying to show me about me? What part of myself am I projecting? What do I still need to integrate? Relationships stop being a battlefield and become a mirror. From there, you grow, together, truthfully, present. Okay, you get the concept, but how do you actually do shadow work? Here are practical tools to get you started. Daily journaling. Reflect on the most intense emotion you felt today. Ask yourself, what does this reveal about me? Revisit your failures with new eyes. What part of yourself did you suppress during that time? What did you silence? Watch your judgments. Every time you strongly judge someone, ask, where is this in me? Create safe spaces for raw expression. Through art, movement, writing, let your shadow breathe. Dialogue with your shadow, ask, what do you want from me? And listen without fixing or correcting. These aren't magic tricks, but they're powerful and consistent, and they change everything. And here's a final essential insight. Integrating your shadow isn't just about you. Jung said that individuation contributes to the collective unconscious. That means when you heal the parts of yourself that you rejected, you open the door for others to do the same. You become a ripple of expansion, and the world desperately needs people who have the courage to be whole. People who don't reject their darkness, but dance with it. In the next and final section, we'll uncover the deepest truth about your shadow, what it's really trying to teach you about life, about your identity, and about what the world needs from you. Stay with me. Now let me ask you something. What would change in your life if you stopped running from your shadow? What kind of person would you become if you embraced the parts you've spent a lifetime trying to hide? There's one truth that Jung insisted on, again and again. You can't become whole by cutting pieces of yourself out. You become whole by bringing all your parts together. Light and dark, fear and fire, shame and power. Your shadow isn't an obstacle, it's an invitation to live with more depth, to connect more authentically, to express what only you can express. And here's the twist most people miss. Your purpose isn't just about you. When you embrace your shadow, You change how you show up in the world. You stop projecting. You stop hiding. You begin to lead just by being whole. And that's how we create a world with more courage, more compassion, more truth. Now, there's one more layer to this. Because if you're still here, it means something in you is ready. But there's a deeper revelation we haven't touched yet, one that shifts everything. About healing, about power, about the future. So stay with me and click the next video that's about to pop up on your screen. It's time to go even deeper. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.